Weedless fat Zonker Jig Fly. Hello! Today we're going to do a Zonker. We're also using a bigger jig head. This is a 7-gram head. It's also got a special shape. It's got these two surfaces here. They're a little bit concave. On a fast twitch, this jig head tends to have an erratic action, which I love very much. Also on the drop, sometimes you get some erratic movement. This is the main ingredient. We're going to use a Zonker strip, hence the Zonker jig. You can use any color you want, but I like this color. Okay, first step. Unlike other jig flies where we attach the thread first, this one's slightly different. We're going to attach the Zonker first. First we decide how long of a tail we want past the bend of the jig. If you put it flush, you will get only the hair movement. Sometimes that's what you want for certain fish. But if you want this to move up and down in the water, then give it a bit of length. But try not to go too long, because in my opinion it detracts from the action. You just want it to move a little bit. Actually, there are Zonkers where the hook is only up to here and the whole thing is moving like a dragon tail. You can do that as well, but because of this, I don't want it to be too long of a fly. Okay, I think I'm comfortable with about this much hanging out. So let's mark it with my bobbin. What I'm doing, I'm just making a tiny hole. I know where to now puncture right in the center. I don't know if you can see. Go through. Okay, and that's it. We remove the jig head, slide it past, and reattach it. Okay, so later on, it's going to be sitting this way with a tail that can move when you twitch the fly. We're now going to cut it off at just where it stops at the jig head here. So we're going to cut it off here. What do? Take your bodkin, push it through where the end of the Zonker should be, push it through like that. Use your fingers, hold down those that are not going to be used. Just keep poking through until you can separate the hairs. What we're trying to achieve is to separate the hairs nicely, so you get a straight line here. Then when you cut, you save a lot of fiber. If I were to cut like that, you lose all these fibers. So what I'm trying to do is I'm going to try to separate and make a as clean a cut as possible across the Zonker strip. I don't know if you can see, there's a reasonably straight line right here. Maybe sideways you can see. And here's where I'm going to cut. Very minimal wastage. Okay, about here. Next, just move it away. If you have a material clip, clip it away. A material clip is like a spring that's normally at the rear section of the vise, the jaws, where you can clip materials. Unfortunately, I don't have one. Okay. Normally, I would remove the lead that is sitting on the shank, this part, which is used to secure the soft plastic. But in this case, it's pretty thin, so I think I'll just leave it and tie directly onto it. Advance the thread towards here is where we're going to start with crystal flash. I'm using 4 strands of gold crystal flash. You can either tie it on here or here. Okay, and snip it just past the end of the Zonker strip. Next, we're going to do the bucktail. Use a nice white color. We're going to tie it on here sort of as a counterpoint to the Zonker strip, but it's also to give it a bit of support. So as per usual, take away the little fluff at the ends and take the longer ones and align them to the shorter ones. So you get a nice thick bunch. Okay, this should extend to about the end of the leather here, roughly like this. Get this out of the way. Okay, I might as well give this tip. If you're going to tie on bucktail, you don't want to have the initial wraps too tight because you flare the end of the fibers. Pull a longer length of thread from your bobbin so that you can go loose, 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 and come back loose, loose, and it get tighter and tighter and tighter and tighter. So when you let go, it doesn't flare up too much. Just use our thumb and fingers to move the bucktail around the hook shank to cover it. When I'm happy with it, the final few tight wraps. So everything that we do, we put super glue. This super glue trick makes the fly able to survive peacock bass attacks, but Toman, it depends on your luck. Okay, now we have the bucktail here and the flash. Next thing we need to do is to attach the zonker strip. So before you do that, make sure the crystal flash has an equal number on both sides of the hook and it sits under the zonker strip. Pull the zonker strip down. We move the thread back to where the first part is going to be anchored down, which is here. We're going to anchor the zonker strip at 2 points, first point and the last point. So knowing that, let's separate the fur again at the point where I'm going to tie the thread, see? So once again, a nice straight portion for you to wind the thread onto. Hold it this way for one time. Make sure the thread is sitting properly on the line and not before the line. On the line, as thin as you can. Don't go too thick and do so much. Go as thin as possible. Maybe 3 or 4 wraps. Tighten it so it will be more or less invisible. See? Once you let go of the fur, where we tied in will be invisible from the top. Again, align it back. Okay, we can now advance the thread to the final place that we want to secure the zonker, but before that, we're going to put a little bit more bucktail. You can put another strip of white, but I think let's play around with the Arctic fox fur, which I love so much. Let's put red Arctic fox underneath. Get a good clump. Hopefully this red will serve as a bite trigger, and I like the colors anyway. They all seem to go together really nicely. If you watch my Arctic Jig Fly video, I would have explained that we don't remove much of the fluff here. Adds pretty good body and movement to the fly. So let's sit it around here so that the end of the fibers are about the same length as the bucktail. So as per usual, take the longer ones and align them to the shorter ones so you get a nice thick bunch. Pretty straightforward now. We attach the Arctic fox fur. Make sure it covers the side nicely, followed by the zonker. Actually left a bit too much of the zonker strip, so let's cut away a little bit. Okay, let's secure it now. I'm just moving the Arctic fox up to cover the lead on the hook shank. Now I'm going to go really tight and end off. 1, 2, 3, 4. Do a final check. Super glue everything. Okay, next, split the zonker fibers evenly on each side of the hook with a bobbin. There we go. So as you can see, it's a pretty chunky fly. Chunky from any angle you look at it. In the water, when you jig it, everything closes, then it opens up when you stop the jig. This fly has a disadvantage on a fly rod. It absorbs a lot of water. After a while, it becomes really heavy. It throws the casting off. But for a jig fly, that doesn't matter. In fact, if you're using a very light jig head, like we use for BFS, the 1 gram, 2 gram jig heads, when this thing absorbs water, it actually goes further on the cast. So something to keep in mind. Okay, this next part is going to be optional. We're going to add a weed guard. In order to do that, we need to move all this away, attach it here. Normally I would attach it this way so that it's easier to work my bobbin like that, but it's too low in the frame for this video, so I'm going to do it this way. It's easier for you to see. I've done the weed guard videos before. Very detailed instructions are on those videos. So I'm just going to go through pretty quickly. And as per usual, I'm using the DuPont bite leader, 20 pound. Attach the thread. Next thing, find the middle, maybe 5 reps, as long as it's stable. Now you take the front one and the back one, hold it together, make a bend, hold it like that, go 1, 2, 3, make that hitch, use your finger, push the hitch down as far as it will go, tighten it. Once again, doing the same thing, 1, 2, 3, pull it down as far down as it will go. Just for luck, another one. So you have 3 times, push it down, and now we're going to secure it to the eye of the jig. Top and bottom. Okay, if you see this V here, that's good. That's what we want. Let's tie this off. 1, 2, 3. Super fast method. We now align this part to the center. Pliers go just beyond where the barb is. Cut. And we are done. However, this is pretty limp, so I need to stiffen this up. There are 2 ways. You either do it with a thicker bite leader, which will give you problems securing it to this hook eye. This diameter and this thickness is about just nice for this purpose. So what do? Take super glue and we're going to stiffen it up with super glue. Make sure you align it well. Okay, first let's secure the wraps. Next, put a drop, let it wick, put a drop, let it wick. What happens is the super glue will move up and down to fill in the airspace between the 2 monofilament, and when it dries, it's going to be pretty stiff. So I want to show you how stiff this becomes. Not too stiff for a fish to clear the hook point. I hope you have enjoyed today's video as much as I enjoyed making it. Last week we hit 50 subscribers. Believe me, I was very encouraged by that. Thank you so much.